friends, hey family, the tribe is live over here, and it is MelissaQ back with another video. It's Courageous Conversations. Thanks so much for being here today, and we want to get straight into the video. We did do a get ready with me for a fall look. This is using quite a bit of new makeup that's OG. I will leave it all down below. I did use the Natasha, the Nonna Sunrise palette. This is the one right before, I believe, the Metropolis palette that just launched, but this is the one that she launched, I think, in the summertime. You can pick this up from Sephora. This is more of her affordable pan, which I really enjoy. Without further ado, we won't prolong it any longer. Let's get into the conversation. Hi friends, welcome back for another Courageous Conversation. It's MelissaQ, it's your girl, yes, and the tribe is live over here. Thanks so much for watching here on a Sunday. We're chilling and we're having a good time. In today's video, we are going to talk about some marriage things. So even if you're single, if you are desiring to be married, if you are currently dating or courting, as a lot of us say, to marry, then this is a video for you. If you're single and you love being single, I do have a video coming about that, and I will leave a poll starting next week on that. Look for it Monday, maybe Tuesday. On that, you guys can give me some thoughts on what you want to see. I think that this is very beneficial for people who are in a marriage, those that are desiring to be married, those that are engaged, those that are single and don't even have a thought in their mind but want to get an idea about marriage. This is a video for you. So I feel like it's for all people, okay? And I'm just gonna say this up front so you guys know this is on the lines of a Christian-based marriage, because a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, some of them are going to be very general, but a lot of the things are going back to the basis of a Christian marriage, because that is what we build our marriage on. Sometimes people have different values in their marriage. Some people are okay with having, you know, other partners in a marriage. I'm not that girl, okay? So I just want to let you know that up front. I totally want to be honest with you guys. By now, you already know in my previous conversations that I talk about God, okay? I talk about Jesus. I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? You know, we always say that. I said that in the last two videos, but I love God, okay? So we are going to talk about some things about marriage, just to let you know some things up front about me. Before we get into that though, subscribe to the channel. It's going to let you know when another video drops. You have to hit the notification bell, and it's going to notify you whenever upload drops, okay? And most of the time it drops at 2 o'clock, but sometimes I'm a little late. Sometimes I have been a little bit early, so you will get the notification, girl, okay? And it's going to also keep you posted on the community tab as to when I am putting polls up there or asking questions. You will get notified from those, but definitely subscribe to the channel. We would love for you to be over here because the tribe is live. I'm just saying. So let's hop into the conversation. I do have some notes over here. We are doing a fall look. Y'all love my get ready with me's, and the last one I did, I believe it was a hair one. So today we're going to do a makeup. Okay, we're going to do fall makeup. I have to go pick up some items for my son today, so I'm going to do something that's fall appropriate for daytime, not nighttime. Maybe I'll do that at another time, but also this might be something good for a date lunch with the man, okay, with the husband or the husband, okay, and or with the babe, or with the fiance, okay, or the boyfriend. I'm going to do a look. I hope you guys enjoy it. I will leave the link down below of what I'm using on my face in case, because I get that question a lot, or questions about, girl, what's on your lips? What's on your eyes? What are you using? What's your mascara? Okay, so we're going to put that. But I do have some notes right here. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes, okay? So let me give you a little backstory on me, okay? I am happily married, and we're going on 18 years. I am so excited. I'm so happy. I am married to the man that I first made love to. The first, and when I say made love, including sex, because some people are, love and sex is making love, and sex is not the same thing, I feel like. And I'm sure many of you think the same way. And the first guy that he was my best friend. He is my best friend. He was my best friend then. He is continuing to be my best friend. I think that that's great basis for a marriage. We went through marriage counseling, and both with my pastor and his pastor. And we also, I'm trying to think of like just the like a basis so you guys can kind of get a structure. We've been through so much. We've been through the loss of children, miscarriages, me being on bed rest, dealing with a child with special needs. So we've been through a lot, but we getting through it together. I think it's really important. We have not, it hasn't always been easy. We love each other, and we have that understanding that we will continue to love each other through the good and the bad. And I think that's all I want you guys to know right now. I just wanted to give you a basis to let you know that I do have some experience in being married, because I'm in a marriage, and both our parents are married. Like my mom and dad are together, and his mom and dad are together. My parents have been married for 44 years, and his parents have been married for 49 years. December, it'd be 49 years. Crazy. But I think that that's also important to look at. We can do another video about backgrounds, because I think backgrounds is huge, because it's going to help you understand your spouse. So if you want something like that about like just like really focusing on the background and how that is important to the marriage, not to say it's going to make a break, but really understanding that your spouse and understanding where they come from is such, I feel like, a detrimental part, because it's going to help you understand them and where they're coming from, kind of like their mindset, but sometimes you won't. And yeah, let's just hop into the video, because we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is, in marriage, things that people don't tell you. By the way, that's the title, if you can't tell. Things that people don't tell you in a marriage or about marriage, because wedding is different than marriage. Wedding is a ceremony. Marriage is the commitment. Okay, so the first thing that people don't tell you about marriage is that you're not gonna like your spouse all the time. Okay, and there is a difference between not liking them for a moment and not liking them in a season. Marriage has stages. Like sometimes friendship has stages. Sometimes how you go through stages, because you go through stages, your marriage is going to go through stages. So there are times, and there's going to be days, and then there's going to be seasons that you just won't like each other. You won't be on the same page, okay? But you have to understand up front that those days are coming, because if you understand that, you'll understand that it's a stage, and you will recognize, you can recognize if this season is going to pass. You can recognize, you're like, okay, something is changing, and it looks like it's not. I think that in knowing that, it's always good. Communication is key in a marriage when it comes to your finances, because if you communicate, you're going to know what page your spouse is on in terms of finances, in terms of love making, because that is a huge one, you guys. I'm just saying, let's just be real, because people don't talk about that. You need to discuss that. We'll get into that in that portion of this video, but it's important. You need to know in terms of, I'm getting all excited. You need to know, you need to know where your husband stands, and I'm talking for women. And let me know, maybe we can have Forrest come on. That's my husband, y'all. We can have him. He's been on here before, and y'all love him. Team Forrest forever, if for my OGs that know him. What was I talking about? There are going to be times when you need to understand that y'all got to have that understanding that you won't understand them. I know it sounds crazy, but you need to understand that there will be times that you don't understand your man. Okay, there are going to be times when you like, I don't get him. But because y'all have that backstory, you have to trust the process. Trust the process of marriage, and trust that because this is a God-based, a Christian-based marriage, that God will get you both through it. And again, I'm going to say prayer is a big thing, because sometimes God will say, girl, shut your mouth and let me talk to him. Okay, let me talk to him, because you are opening your mouth too much, and he can't talk to me because you talking. So stop talking. Then there are other times when God will direct me to use an example. Sometimes God will send people his way to get a better understanding, but I have to trust God that he has my man on lock. Okay, and when I say my man on lock, that means he has him secure, not like a slave or anything, but there's a willingness that comes with serving God that you have to have in your marriage, that you are not in control. God is in control of your marriage, and that you have to come to the realization, and you're not going to get it perfect, because this is two imperfect people serving a perfect God with humanity. And we, are spirit filled. And when I say spirit filled, I'm talking about the Holy Ghost. We are two spirit filled believers that are moving toward the goal of seeing Jesus when he comes. Okay, that is the goal. Serving other people, serving each other. And let me just say this, first of all, don't serve anybody else more than your man. Okay, the commitments to my man, then to my children, then to, of course, serving God, serving my man, serving my family, serving my children, serving my family. Okay, serving my friends, serving even my enemies, y'all. Okay, there is a service that's behind that. But anyway, because when I say serving my friends, serving the fake friends, okay, serving my enemies, and there is a service behind that. But that doesn't mean necessarily you got to be buddy with them. It's okay, you live your life in service, and they see it, and they are converted to Christ because of it. That's what I'm saying. You ain't gotta be all up in their face. But anyway, I'm very passionate about this. Can you tell? Oh goodness. Anyway, I think I told y'all I'll link everything down below, because I'm just going to go right in. We're doing a fall look. I've already have my skincare prepped on here, and I'm going to start putting skincare on here, by the way. But we're just going straight in. But don't let nobody serve your man more than you do. Okay? Let me just say that. I know you guys have told me that, I know that you guys have told me I love your examples that you give during the courageous conversation. So let me give you some examples in my marriage, particular, that I had to put the red flags up on, and really not only check people that were around me, but even check myself. I'm not gonna let anybody serve my husband more than me. Okay. I am the ace boon coon. I am his queen. He is my king. And I'm not afraid to say it, because that is how it's supposed to be. If I want to stay on the top of the totem pole on his list, I have to serve. Okay. And let's just go ahead and get the word out of the way, because a lot of women don't like this word, but we have to be submissive. And the Bible says that we have to be submissive one to another, but particularly women, because we have a problem with being submissive. Okay. And submissive does not necessarily mean that I bow down every time my husband says something. Okay. It means that I listen, that I commit. We have that power struggle in marriage. Why do we know that? Because the word of God would not even put it in there if we would have that problem. But what I have learned about the power in submission is that when I submit, my husband listens. Because when God says, for instance, when I am on one, and the Holy Spirit says, Melissa, shut your mouth, and I shut my mouth, my husband goes, oh, something going on. Radar. The power of submission, opens the door for God to work. Okay, so even if I have the answer, sometimes our delivery is not the best. Okay, I'm just gonna, I keep it 100 on here. Okay, our delivery is not the best. Tasha from, was that Tasha? I think that's Tasha from, what is that? Why Did I Get Married? She says something that's so funny, but it's so true. Is that I don't want to, what did she says? I don't want, I'm not trying to control Marcus. I just want him to do what I say. And it's the same thing. And we can never force our spouse to do something that, if they do it, they're going to regret it and they're going to be resentful. So you always want a willingness. And really that's what submission is about. Being willing to serve the other person. In marriage, you have to be selfless, okay? Yes, you can you can have self-care. I love me and everything, but you have to be selfless. You have to be thinking about that other person. How would this person feel if I said that? I might not need to say that, okay? So that's all I'm saying in terms of that. But people don't say that there is a power of submission when it comes to marriage. They're not going to tell you submit, girl. You know you don't have any girlfriends, girl. If you just submit, God is going to bless you. Girl, you know, a lot of them going to be like, girl, I wouldn't have him talking to me like that. Beware. Beware. You know, there's two sides. There's two sides to every story. Sorry. There's two sides to every story. There is something that you can always learn in the interim of things. So just be careful, even who you talk to. I'm just going down the list, you guys. But I'm really, like I said, I pray and I ask God what to talk to you guys about. And I think that this is very appropriate for us to talk about in terms of not, these things are things that people don't tell you about marriage. You're not going to always get it right. But the whole point about it is allowing God to work and always working on yourself. Pointing fingers, you're just going to go back and forth. Okay? The pointing finger thing does not work. I call it the Adam syndrome. A lot of times men do point fingers in order. What was that? Some on my lips. Men do point fingers, and you know, I just call it the Adam syndrome, y'all. It's not, I don't take it personal. Sometimes I do. Let me retract that. Sometimes I do take it personal because I'm like, dude, you're not gonna get out of this one, okay? But I think it's important for us to know that we have an understanding that all is good. I am constantly on my knees praying to God about my husband, about my spouse, about his duties. He has a large, you know, it's not about me. Lord, change him. You know, I've learned that if God changes me or I change, that my husband will change because he's in constant interaction with me. So the best way to transform a situation is really to work on myself. Even when it's not my fault, you know. I will say one of the major things that I have learned is that sometimes I'm going to have to apologize even when it's not my fault. It's about getting clear of the situation. And I'm not saying blame everything on you and don't stand up for yourself. But there's times when, you know what, you know that delivery. You know, apologize for things, first of all, that you sincerely are, you know, you really are doing a self-check. You know, just don't apologize just to get it over with. I think that that's important to, you know, make sure everything is good. But apologize apologizing even when it's not your fault, but you know that, hey, I could have delivered that a little bit different. So a lot of times when we have a discussion, for us, I have a discussion, let's just say that it's something that was totally his responsibility, but we're having a discussion and it turns into, it goes from discussion, disagreement to argument. Okay, so those are the different stages. Okay, a lot of times it goes from discussion to argument, but if I go from discussion to disagreement, I can save myself from going into argument. If I go from discussion to disagreement, I can save myself from going to argument. Okay, I want to avoid and argument can be a way. Argument is basically when the emotions are in it. Disagreement is like, listen, I am not agreeing with that, and there's plenty of times where I'm like, you know what? We're going to agree to disagree. I am not going to agree with you on this. And just know that until I feel differently, I'm sticking to what I feel like. But I understand that we don't have an understanding in that. Okay? I understand what you're saying. I've said this a lot to Forrest. I understand what you're saying, but I disagree. Okay? I understand where you're coming from. I do understand. But just because you have understanding does not mean that you're going to agree on everything. And it's okay. I'm like, listen, babe, it's okay. We're not going to agree on that. I'm just letting you know. And that can be the end of it. And just leave it as it is. If it's a decision that needs to be made, I'm like, babe, you know what? Let's pray about it. If your way, it's not about my way. It's not about your way. It's the best way. Okay. And reassuring your spouse that y'all are on the same team. There have been plenty of discussions that I have had in the past with my husband. And all he needs to know is that we're on the same team. I'm like, babe, I understand where you're coming from with that. I just want to let you see that there's a different perspective, and that it's okay. It's okay. I'm on the same team with you. Your girl is ride or die, okay? She ride or die for you, because I know that my husband wants to do the right thing, okay? And I'm like, I got you. But I want you to see a different perspective. And the best thing in any type of, even in a business venture, you want options. You just don't want one option. It's better to have, more than just your option. The Bible says that 2 is better than 1. You have different thoughts. And let me just say this about like marriage, within a marriage of a woman and a man. You all are wired different. We are wired differently, okay? Women are wired differently than men, and I can prove it. In the garden, Adam was chilling by himself, and it was God that said that it is good that men, shouldn't be alone. So he put Adam to sleep. He could have even made Eve just like he made Adam, but there is something from putting Adam to sleep and making Eve from Adam. Okay, those attributes that he pulled from Adam are in a woman. Okay, so that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Oh, we are wired differently. I'm going to see things. A lot of times Forrest and I are saying the same thing, but we're just saying that in a different way. Okay, and I have to realize that, okay, you know what? He said go right. He said go left, then make a right. And I said go right, then make a left, but we're at the same location. We may not go in the same direction, but if the end is the same, hey, we have to have that understanding that, hey, I'm saying hey a lot. hey. We have to understand that our spouse may be saying the same thing. And if they're saying it differently, but we're going to the same destination, be okay with just going along with it. Okay, you know what? This is not going to get anywhere. So let me just go with the flow. He's saying the same thing. She's saying the same thing. And a lot of times, even in our discussion, I'm like, Forrest, I'm saying the same thing that you are. We're on the same team. Okay? So, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm not sure if I talked about this before already in the beginning of this video, just because, girl, I went in. And kudos to you if it's any guys watching. Let me know, and I definitely could get Forrest on here. He's already told me, babe, you need me on. You know, he thinks he got a fan base, y'all. Anyway, he will do that. But anyway, I think in the beginning I was talking about things that people don't tell you about marriage is that there will be times where you just don't like your spouse. I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody, even in dating. It continues in marriage. Now, the difference between marriage and dating is that you're living with the person, you're sleeping in the same bed, and the commitment is one in front of God and witnesses that, listen, through the good and the bad, I am staying here. Through sickness and health, I'm here. I'm ready to die for this relationship. That's basically what you're saying. And I not only made a commitment to him, but I made one to my God and his God. I think that it's really important to be on the same page. I am one about, I think that is also important to worship at the same church. I mean, I know that there have been times where the spouse goes to a different church, but I'll put it like this. If you're getting fed from the same table, you know what each other are being fed. Now, that's my take on it. I have seen successful relationships where people go to two different churches. But I am one that definitely, and when I say successful, y'all, let me say this from what I see, okay? Because I have to say that because we don't know what's really going on in people's houses unless you get both sides, okay? Because there's two sides to every story. But I have seen for a time where the spouses go to two different ministries, but eventually they end up going to the same one. I just think that that's something important to me, especially when you have children, because, you know, worshiping at the same place and location, I think that that's important. I think that's something that we don't discuss sometimes. But I definitely think that, you know, you going to church and your husband going to church, you being active, him being active, I think that it's important because that's a service not only to the ministry, but it is to God. You're giving service where, you know, within your faith. I think that's important. I serve right along with my husband. I feel like that it's important for me to be in the cut with him because he knows that, hey, I'm right to die. But not only that, I have his back, he has mine. I think it's important also, things that people don't tell you in marriage is that you have to be on the lookout for people on the lookout for you. I know, I'm getting real. Oh, well, I was already real from the beginning, but y'all know what I'm saying. There are people that want to be friends with you that don't want to be friends with you. They want to be friends. They want to be around you. They don't want to be friends. They want to be around you for the purpose of their own gain. They want something from you. They may even want your spouse. Just be real with that. And you have to be prayed up, on the lookout. And so Forrest and I have made this rule that there have been times when both male and female have come into our lives. We're both in ministry. And listen, if there's a male that come to me, I refer him to my husband. And that, listen, it's not that I don't trust. You don't trust me. I don't trust flesh, okay? I don't trust this human body to do everything that you want it to do. So, the Bible says, resist the devil and he'll flee, okay? So, let's just be real. That's just something that him and I made a rule about, is that that's how we cover each other in the marriage. If I want to stay happy in the marriage, this is what I'm going to do. I don't want my husband having thoughts that I am, like, in any way cheating on him. And let me just say this too. I think it's important when you have a disagreement, don't put another person, especially the opposite sex, in the mix with telling them what's going on. Oh, you can trust me. You can do. No, go deal it. Pray about it. Pray about it. If you need to talk, even to your pastor, sometimes God will send you someone that you can talk to, because I really think it's important for you to have that person to talk to. But just to be telling them, and this is when the discernment kicks in, y'all. You have to know who to talk to about certain things. And don't talk to people that are going to look at your spouse sideways afterwards, because the whole point is to get right? The whole point is to get an understanding so you can come back in communion with your spouse. Not to like put him on blast or her on blast and then the person keep them on blast. And you've made up and they're still looking sideways at your spouse. There's certain things that I just don't talk to my parents about my marriage, because a lot of times people are not going to tell you, but parents' side. Let me say this, okay? There's just certain things I don't talk to my parents about, because I know that talking to them, sometimes I'm venting to them, but I don't want them looking at my husband sideways, because that's just a humanistic thing about it. They want to be defensive. They want to, not my baby. There's just certain things I don't talk about, because I know that there will be a bias there. And you have to be very real with yourself. Are you venting so you can get someone on your side? Or are you really trying to get a solution to something? Mayron has some good makeup, y'all. This is a good makeup palette. Just interjecting. Okay, I'm trying to get back to this, but like I said, I feel like that it's important to have guidelines for everything. Okay, you need to have guidelines even down to arguments, okay, down to disagreements, because you don't want the argument to get so heated where you guys want to start talking about family members. That happens, okay? Mother-in-law comes over and she does something that gets on your nerves, or father-in-law comes, or your mom or your dad. One of the rules that Forrest and I have is that if he's venting about a family member, just not necessarily, it doesn't have to be his mom or dad. It could be his sisters. It can be his uncle, his auntie, cousin. I'm going to listen. Okay. And I need to have an understanding. Does he want, and I'll ask, do you want me to comment or do you just want me to listen? Because sometimes they just want you to listen, because it can come across offensive if I'm like, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That's their brother or sister, or that's their mom or dad, or that's their uncle and cousin. And I want to be, what do you need me at this moment to be? Do you need me to be a friend that's going to tell you the truth? Do you need me to be a wife that listens? So in doing that, never assume, always ask. Like, always ask. And so I think, having guidelines, even when there's an argument, we don't talk about, the rule in our marriage is that we do not talk about family members. Okay. We don't talk about family members. If a family member is brought up or talked about, we know that I have that understanding. Oh, well, you know what, that at that moment, it was heated and feelings were hurt, because that's going to be family members talking about spouses, and family members even talking about each other. That is going to be a problem. Another thing in terms of heated arguments or whatever, no name calling. Okay, I'm just saying, these are things that you have to put into place, I feel like, because once that barrier is crossed, and these are things that we went to marriage counseling, you guys. We are still in marriage counseling, by the way. We get counseling all the time. We don't wait for a problem to happen to get marriage counseling. We get marriage counseling to get the understanding of each other, okay? And to know that this is something that is going to be ongoing. That's the thing I love about getting that. And yes, Forrest and I, sometimes we go separate. Sometimes, a lot of times, our marriage counseling is together. But his parents are marriage counselors, so we get it all the time. Okay? But We have, I'm like, hey, it worked for them for 49 years. They're doing something right, and they are in love. Like, you know, one of the first things that I saw when I first started dating Forrest was that I remember talking to him, and his father had just gotten off of work, and the first thing that she did was go and sit in his lap. I was like, well, wait. Open affection. You know what I mean? She went inside. She was like, how was your day? Or whatever. And I thought that was so, I was like, wow. And it wasn't fake. They were just doing what they do, you know? And I love that. I love that they were openly affectionate to one another. Their children saw it. I think it's important that if your children see you have a disagreement, they need to see you make up too. Because your children need to know that everything is okay with mommy and daddy. Okay, because you will have your children come back and say, are y'all okay? Especially if they're old enough. They need to see you make up. They need to see that a disagreement happened, but mom and daddy are good. Because kids don't get that concept. Okay, they think y'all hate each other forever if they don't see that, you know. Even with them, you know, I have learned that even through Forrest, he is great with, like, babe, you have to go back and let, you know, the kids know that you're good. You know, I know you were upset right there, but, you know, go back and give the kids, you know, the reassurance. And sometimes your spouse needs to tell you that. Sometimes you're not going to know every single thing. As a mother, as a wife, I didn't know everything up front. So there were times when even my mother-in-law, I call her my mother-in-law, she'd be like, Melissa, you were wrong. You were wrong. But let me just give you some suggestions. These are only suggestions. I'm not telling you what to do, but these are some suggestions. I've been there, you know. And it's good to know that you have some options, y'all, and that you're not the only one going through. Okay, having a relationship. She knows her son, but she was like, I love you too. And so I want you all's marriage to work, and I want you all to continue to love. You know, you all have grandchildren with, you know, you have my grandchildren, and that made me feel good. You know what I mean? I have a extremely close relationship with my husband's mom. I'm so grateful to God that he gave me a family. You know, when you marry the spouse, this is a gold nugget, y'all. Get ready for it. When you marry your husband, you marry the family. Okay? I know, sounds like a mafia thing. It is. Okay? But you marry the family. You marry into the family. You marry, you know, the good qualities. You marry the bad ones, because that is who he is made of. You know what I mean? So just know that's just what it is. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, let's talk about something juicy and good, right? Sexual expectations. People don't talk about that. Ooh, that was probably not the right time to do that. But I just wanted to say, there are sexual expectations in your marriage, and sometimes they may change. Okay, let's just be real. We're talking about big girl stuff. Get your golden ovaries. Pull them up, y'all. Pull them together. Golden ovaries. Yes, I did say golden ovaries. Y'all laughed at me the last time I said that, but that's just something that as the years, I remember somebody was like, okay, you got your golden ovaries. That means you know, your big girl garments. Okay. There are times where you need to discuss what just happened and talk about those sexual expectations, because you need to know, he needs to know what you like, he needs to know what you don't like. We're talking, this is a courageous conversation, y'all. Courageous conversations are things we don't really want to talk about, but we need to talk about. There needs to be a discussion of love making. Okay, and whether it's love making or you're having sex with your spouse, yes, sex, because sometimes it will be that, and then there are other times, most of the time it should be love making. There needs to be those expectations. Okay, those expectations need to be met on both sides. Okay, You have to discuss those things because it's important to them, and you need to know that you are satisfying your spouse. How am I getting the courage to say all of this? It's because it was told to me. Okay. When you have parents that are marriage counselors, you gonna hear a lot of stuff in terms of with them. They was like, listen, your spouse should be satisfied most of the time. No, all the time. You should make it an aim that you are always engaging. You shouldn't just be, okay, it's just his turn. You should be even engaging in everything. Okay? Engaging. And when I say engaging, be present. Because let's be real. Sometimes we want to be absent from the body. Absent from the body is being present with the Lord. No, you shouldn't be having no outer body experience when you are you're loving your spouse, you're making love. And that is the difference between, I think, making love and sex, is that you're present, you're in the moment, you're engaging with the person, you're having eye contact, you are, I know I'm getting real with some of y'all, but you should be having eye contact. You should be speaking. You should be communicating. I love you. I like this. And, let's just talk about with men in general. Okay. Men like communication. Okay. Men like when they're being communicated to. And we like being communicated to as well. And let me just say something for the men that are watching. Okay. We know that, love making, having sexual relationship is a part of the marriage, but trying to engage in sexual activity with your wife and not getting a situation right, it's just going to be that. Let me tell you something. You will have such a better experience if the situation is handled. Okay? And when I mean that, don't go into an argument and then try to go to that, and she's not ready, but she does it anyway. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna know when, you're gonna understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that, because I said what I said. You're gonna understand what I mean by that. But women are, as much as I said it before, but as much as men don't want to really hear this, women are emotional beings. We're sensitive. We like to know that we are secure, that we're taken care of, that even if it's on your if you're not in the right place with everything, situations are not going to always, finances are not going to always be where we want it to be. But with your wife, if you are attempting to make everything good, she should be on the list. Okay, she should be at the top of your list. Okay. It's not only women that should make sure that the man is first, but you got to put, it says the Bible says that a man should be the head and should give his life for his wife and love his wife. Okay. And women are supposed to love their own husbands, not somebody else's. Okay. Because sometimes we give attention to other people's spouses more than their own. I had that happen before. I was at a dinner and someone was all up in my husband's face. It was like, would you like dessert? Would you like, he was like, my wife got it. And her husband got mad and was like, when you gonna ask me? Forrest and I wanted to clean up the whole house and leave. Okay. When somebody get in trouble, you want to clean up. That's how it was. So we have to make sure that we are taking care of our own husbands. And that's just a thing. Let me see. Maybe I'll use this Natasha the Nonna palette. This is the Sunset palette, you guys. I just use Minted in my crease, which is so beautiful, but I want to use something else. Okay. What do I want to use? I want to use some. I'm going to use it right out here. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. I'm getting excited. Thank you, Natasha. Oh, so easy. Oh, that was really easy. But anyway, okay. So those sexual expectations need to be met. Don't serve anybody more than you do your own spouse. Otherwise, they're going to see it. They're going to feel it. And that Proverbs 31 woman, their husband, she's that businesswoman. She does it all. But she also, if you notice, it says that her husband does not lack anything. Like, he's not looking anywhere else to find, you know. I told Forrest, I was like, listen, if you ever thought about doing that, I'm going to make you think twice, because it's going to be so good over here. You're going to be on lock over here. You're going to be like, no, that's temporary over there. I got something. I got my good thing is at home. My rib is at home. Okay. I got to go get my ribs. And, you know, men are sexual creatures, ladies. You meet that need. Okay. Meet that need. And that's just something that I have understood, and I don't mind. I want to be that wife that makes sure that everything is secure, that's good on this side. I love talking to my husband. Your bed is just not for love making. It's also a place where you can commune and talk. And know, ladies, know when to talk about certain situations. Don't wait until something is heated. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know. Talk about things. I've learned this. Talk about difficult things when things are good. Okay? When you've taken care of what you needed to take care of. I'm just saying. And talk about those things then. Not to get what you want, but to really like connect with your spouse. I think it's not about always getting what you want, because there are things that I want, but it's just not the time to get it right then and there. And I understand that. That's that maturity of being that woman of God that's mature, because sometimes it's what you want, but is it the right time for you to have it? Okay, and you just have to be real with yourself in that. I know, we've covered a lot of ground right now. Oh my goodness. Y'all tell me if it's good or not, y'all. Okay. Oh, knowing your spouse love language. We have to know our spouse love language. Are they affectionate? Is that the language that they're talking in? Because there's a saying, and I heard this a while ago. I don't even know who coined this, but we may speak English, but all of us don't speak the same language. You need to know that you're speaking the same language with your spouse. I think that is so important to know that. I'm using this color Clove, and it's so beautiful. I love it. I might just keep my eyes just like this, run it over the crease like this. I think I am. This is just so nice. And maybe put something in a corner, but 3 colors, boom. Yeah. Ooh, yes. I'm gonna use Awakening. Ooh, I used the wrong end, y'all. Awakening. Okay. That's subtle. I love that. What was I talking about? Oh, knowing your spouse love language. I think it's important, because sometimes we can be like, well, what about me? What about me? What about me? Well, what about your spouse? And I know I'm on the side of the spouse a lot, because I think sometimes I think one of the things that we fail to see or realize in our marriage, it's about pleasing that other person. I got into the commitment of this marriage to please the other person, and when the other person pleases you, that's where the balance comes in. Forrest wants to make me happy. I want to make him happy, and it's not always about me. As a matter of fact, the more I pour into him, and I can fill my cup. I make sure that I'm good. I make sure that my nails are done. He makes sure that my nails are done. He's like, babe, go get your feet done. Go get your nails done, because listen, when you are good, I'm good. When you're taken care of, I'm taken care of. And that's the kind of relationship that you definitely want to build. It may not be that in the beginning, but with God in it, and you are communing with God and he's communing with you, and he's communing with God, then it will be a balance. Okay. And sometimes there's going to be times when you have a situation, you have your ups and downs, and he should be the one that lifts you up. And when he has his ups and downs, you should be lifting him up. It should be that balance. You're going to always be doing this in your marriage. Okay. Knowing your spouse's love language is really important with tapping into who he is, and him knowing your love language. There's a book that I have. It's actually in my closet because I take it out for reference, but it's by Gary Chapman, and it is called The 5 Love Languages. If you are married, if you're thinking about being married, if you are dating or even engaged, that is an amazing book. I think every married person should have that book to understand your spouse. I think every person before you get married, or if you're contemplating marriage, read it, because it's going to tell you a lot about understanding the person and their love language, because you should be speaking your love language every day. Okay. If I talk to God, I talk to my husband all the time, and I need to have that love language. The last topic I want to talk about before putting on my mascara, well, yeah, let's put on mascara, and we got to put on a lip, and then we will be done. Let's do a Pat McGrath, because I have not done a Pat McGrath lip on here. What was that? It was something I was going to talk about too. Initiating is important. I think initiating the sexual relationship, men initiate a lot in the area, I think. Initiate in those areas, especially that you don't normally, because they need to see that reciprocation, okay? One thing I do know is a man does not like to be the one that initiates all the time. This is a pretty color. Okay, a man, I actually want a lip darker. This lip liner is perfect for this, but it's muted. I kind of want it to be a little bit darker around the rim. Let's use Foxy lip pencil. I really like Mented's lip pencil options. Yes. We're going to do MAC Whisper of Guilt. Do y'all remember the Nutcracker collection? It puts on just like the perfect amount, like not too much kind of thing. It's like a duster. Ooh, this is just so sparkly. I want to put it up. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I did that. This is Awakening. What I put in out of the inner corner. I was gonna do a matte eye, y'all, but I couldn't resist. Okay, I gotta go a little bit harder in the paint in the corner. Lastly, I'm going to talk about something that I probably, either side usually doesn't really want to do, but we need to do, and that is apologize. I think that apology, you just need to go into the marriage with the understanding that you're going to apologize a lot. I feel like if you think that way, when it's time to apologize, you won't be so hard up and you won't be so proudful, because apology is important. I think that, you know what, babe, I could have delivered that a little bit better. So I apologize. Even when it's the other person's fault and they apologize, and you know what, babe, I'm really sorry. You know what, I accept your apology, and you know what, things are gonna get better, and you know what, for my part in this and having the disagreement, I shouldn't even went there. I'm sorry. I know that it's a hard thing to do, but big mature people know how to apologize when it's their fault or they want to come back together. It does not always have to be your fault. Initiate the apology, okay? And we are done. We're going to put on some mascara, and we will be finished. Oh, I'm going to put on some jewelry too. So, hold please. Okay. we have our jewelry on. I have my Dior mascara. I need to put some earrings on. I hope you guys enjoyed this courageous conversation. I know we talked about some things that's why we need courage for, but I know some serious things. Comment down below if you have some gold nuggets, if you have any input, if you've been married, and are in a new marriage, things that maybe you learned, because you know there are things that we can definitely learn from. We can learn from our decisions and our mistakes. We can definitely talk about those things in the comments as well. I have not been divorced. Hopefully I will never be divorced. I mean, I don't think someone goes into a marriage saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna be divorced. I would not hope that would be the case. Or if you are if you're in a marriage and you definitely just want to share your thoughts on some topics that we talked about, definitely let me know. Again, I'm just telling you what works for my marriage and what I have prayed about. Everybody has a different understanding within their marriage, so just know that I'm not telling anybody what they should do in their marriage. I'm just letting you know what works in mine. And also what I've been counseled on about. And I definitely think that if we are talking about a Christian-based marriage, I think it's important to always consult God. You know, again, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct. He'll give you the desires of your heart. I'm sorry. But we are supposed to acknowledge Him in all of our ways. And that's especially in our marriage. Because one thing I do know is that although Forrest and I are husband and wife, it has not been always easy. But we have loved each other through the process. And we don't grow at the same pace. And we have to love each other through each other's individually growth process. There's a growth process with each individual. There's a growth process in the marriage. But we have to love each other at the level that we're at. And in some areas, you're going to grow faster than your spouse. And in other areas, he's going to grow faster than you. But all in all, love is still there. Love conquers all. So that's all I have for you guys today. That is the makeup look. We wanted to do a fall appropriate look, a daytime look. I think this really could be year round, to be honest with you. But I wanted to use some more like berry shades, some deeper tones. I like my skin looking natural like this. Like, again, I said I will leave a link down below of what I use. I just wanted to say that in the case I forgot on camera, okay? This is 090 Pro Black. This is the Christian Dior Show. And I really can build this up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let us know what you are expecting from Courageous Conversations. Drop some wisdom in the comments. Everybody is reading it, and you may be the next step to someone else's blessing, to their deliverance, to an open door, to closing and ending a chapter and starting a new one in their life. So I thank you so much for being so engaging with me here. Join the conversation down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.